Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent pick four on Penn Mile Friday at Penn National with the Penn Oaks. 3-year-old fillies going a mile. $150,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field. And it's a short field, but there's quality to be sure. Chad Brown sends out the 4 Haughty and the 6 Customer List. Haughty was third and a close one at that in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. I talked to Chad earlier this week. He's very high on both of these horses. He said before they even ran, when they were doing their scouting reports, these were 2 of the 3 he had circled for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf.
Yeah, well, he got one of them there, Haughty, and she actually ran pretty well in that race. Then beaten less than a length. Not a huge excuse that day, but she certainly ran fine. The other one, Customer List, unfortunately only saw her once last year at Monmouth, but she was pretty impressive breaking her maiden.
This could be the key to the race, though. The Timeform US pace projector. Haughty, the 4 Timeform US has on the lead. And if the pace is slow, as we saw in Keeneland, she can get up close. I have a feeling a little Love and Luck's going to try to take them on the lead, Mike. She's got that tactical speed, and I think they don't want a repeat of what happened last time with her.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you flip-flop the 4 and the 5 there on the pace projector. We'll see how they play it. Either way, Dan, there's just not a lot of pace in this race. And so you just look at it and feel like they're not going to be going very fast early no matter what.
Now, the number 1 lacks pace data. That's the number 1 Balakwa, because she's coming in from overseas. And doesn't Graham Motion just do this wonderfully? Gets horses off the layoff, foreign shippers, and they just seem to fire no matter what the layoff. Now, Balakwa's going to be tackling turf for the first time. She raced on the all-weather in all 3 of her starts overseas, but I thought she did some good things, Mike, last time out. She beat a couple next-out winners in that last race.
Yeah, I agree with you. I appreciate the fact that she showed more tactical speed too in those 2 December races. Her first start over the summer there just didn't have any speed at all. And when they came into the stretch of that race, she still had an awful lot to do in there. And she came with a huge finish to close that race down. Came back and ran, really well in each of her last 2 starts. And again, when she won that most recent one, big finish from just off the pace. And I really like the way she goes. I feel like she's going to handle the turf course in here. And as you've already mentioned, Motion has some really, really strong numbers with horses like this.
I expect her to be covered up in the back of the pack. Hope this pace is slow. I expect it to be. It might just come down to who has the best kick. We've seen these Euros fly down the stretch in the past. Ire Empress is the number 2. Big price, 30-1 on the morning line. This is a filly trying turf for the first time. She's by Shackelford. Maybe she'll be the one to show some speed, stretching out off several sprints, Mike, but I just don't see enough turf pedigree to get me interested, even at a big price.
Yeah, me either. Maybe they will try to get a little aggressive with her here at a big price. To me, that just makes her a good target for somebody else.
Morning Matcha, the number 3, has done some really nice things on dirt for Butch Reed. I talked to Butch earlier this week. He said it's not really about the pedigree why he wants to try Morning Matcha. He just likes the way she goes, thinks she might handle it, but also to avoid the kickback. He thinks that's really been bothering her in her last few races on dirt, and it's one of the reasons she's been so far back recently.
Yeah, that's interesting to note because she really doesn't show any speed in her dirt races. Sometimes having that running style can translate better to turf than it can to dirt. And maybe that is because of the kickback issue. Overall, she does have some ability, I think, Dan. It feels like this race isn't going to set up that great for her. And she's really not bred to be better on this surface than she is on the main track.
You don't think her last race, the Black-Eyed Susan, is as bad as it looks? She had a lousy post position. She did have a nice pace to run it, but it just seems speed was holding all Preakness weekend, and Morning Match had a lot to do. She did pass a couple of tired horses in the stretch. Haughty is the number 4. Haughty ran 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. We're going to watch that race right now. No real excuses from a trip standpoint. She was wide, and the horses that finished 1-2 saved a lot more ground than she did. But all in all, she ran very well. This race has already produced 4 next-out winners, 2 of them group winners overseas.
Yeah, it's been a pretty strong race, and Haughty more than held her own, Dan, right off of a maiden win. Of course, she did finish first in each of her first 2 starts, but, still technically coming in off of a maiden win, gained ground in the late stages there. A lot of horses were gaining ground at the end there, but she was certainly one of them. And as you've already pointed out, she was basically wide the entire way, while the winner got a really nice run through on the inside. Not a bad performance at all. She's way the horse to beat.
And Chad said he had her ready to run about a month or so ago. She got sick, forced to miss a race, but he feels like he's made up enough time with her in the recent workouts to have her ready for this. A Little Love and Luck is up next. And this is just a very consistent daughter of Arrogate. And she has the tactical speed to pull good trips, except when she doesn't get good trips. And I don't think she got the greatest trip last time out in the Horseshoe Indianapolis. Now, she got beat by 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Heavenly Hellos, but I don't know, Mike. I just thought she was kind of buried in and among horses all the way before getting clear late.
Yeah, I think it probably cost her too. You could see right there, Dan, when we picked up the replay, her rider was trying to get her to the outside, but she had rivals right there, not letting her get out into the clear. So she has to go back in and split horses late. Still looks like she's going to be able to get there, but she can't get up. Enough of an excuse for me. I also felt like maybe she had a little bit of an excuse 3 back in the Florida Oaks, where she was just on the outside the entire way. In between that, she ran fine in a really, really tough running of the Memories of Silver.
8-1 on the morning line. She has the recency advantage over the horses that are arguably her main contenders, one of them being the 6 customer list. The first thing Chad told me when I talked to him on Tuesday was, don't worry about that I debuted her at Monmouth. I had to separate a lot of horses that time of the year. This was the spot we picked out. We really like her. Let's watch what customer list did at Monmouth as the 3-5 favorite that day. She beat 4 next out winners. She did so coming from off the pace. This is one of those, horses that they bought overseas. I think she cost almost $300,000. They wanted to run her in a prep race at Keeneland to get her ready for the Breeders' Cup. Chad said she got very, very, very sick. She almost died. They had to take her to the clinic. They had to give her a lot of farm rest. Now she's back.
Yeah, that's interesting to know. None of that sounds great to me. We'll see if she's fully recovered. Obviously, on the video evidence, Dan, from the only start, she was super impressive, breaking her maiden. Has a really big pedigree, too. There's a lot of pedigree to really stretch it out with this filly. So I wonder if we'll see her at longer distances as time goes on. But if she's ready off the layoff and just takes some kind of step forward here, I wouldn't be surprised if she beat this field.
And that's exactly what Chad says. This one has a little bit more range than Haughty, who she believes will be a pure miler down the road. Before we get to our top selections, please subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Belmont Stakes right around the corner. We'll have all the content on DRF TV. Top pick time for the Penn Oaks. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 4. Mike, you're going with Balakwa. She's the X factor in this race. You're catching 2 Chads off the layoffs, and the price might be square at 5-1.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to be a price just because you do have the 2 Chad Brown runners in here. I realize I'm just setting myself up here for this horse to run really well and still not be good enough to beat either of the 2 Chad horses. But I'm going to take a shot. If she's around that morning line, I'm going to bet this horse.
You have a very dependable Laurel-based rider and Jorge Ruiz aboard. Haughty, I think's tactical speed's going to play very well in this spot. Chad mentioned he wished he didn't have to rush her back so quick off that maiden win in the Breeders' Cup. That DQ really set him back, and he had to rush her back on 3 weeks. I think she'll run well, and here's a good spot. 4-5-1-6 for me, 1-4-6-5 for Mike. Same super different order in the Penn Oaks. Nice card at Penn National on Friday. Play it with your DRF Bets account.